Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Muriel Banakisa and I'm a food photographer, recipe developer, and soon-to-be cookbook author. On this YouTube channel, I like to talk about food photography, editing, gear, and also I like to share once in a while a couple of vegan recipes. In today's video, however, we're going to be talking about inspiration, creative ruts, and also I'll be sharing with you some of the creative struggles that I've been going through in the past year that I haven't really talked about on social media. So if you're interested in any of these topics, make sure to watch this video from beginning to the end. Now that the intro is done and out of the way, let's get comfortable and chat about creativity, creative ruts, inspiration, and all that jazz. Today's video is going to be a little bit more informal and relaxed. So if you want, you can grab yourself a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, kombucha, a glass of wine, anything you want. And let's talk about all this stuff. So if you've watched my previous video that I published a couple weeks ago, it's called How to Edit Brown Food. I shared a little bit about the fact that I've been working on a cookbook for a little while. This is a project that started back in 2020, and by the time this book is going to be published next year, it's coming very soon. Stay tuned for the release date, by the way. It's coming sooner than you think. Anyways, by the time this cookbook is going to be published, it will have been 4 years that I've been working on this big project. To be perfectly honest, when I embarked on this adventure, I did not fully grasp the scope of a project like this one. I knew kind of the blocks of tasks that I would have to perform and do, but it's only when I was in the midst of performing those tasks of shooting 100 recipes, testing them in my kitchen without a dishwasher, reading the text over and over and over again, that I really realized like the scope of the project and how profound of an experience writing this manuscript and creating these photos was for me. During this very demanding creative period, I felt connected to a higher force. I felt like sometimes when I was creating or editing or shooting or testing recipes, I was in a state of flow. Like I was just connected to something bigger and like things kind of moved through me to a point where some days I would shoot 4 recipes in a day, you know, like cooking all those 4 recipes, shooting them all and cleaning my kitchen that same day, which is a lot. These days, I can barely even squeeze just 2 recipes in a day. So it was kind of magic. And when I think back of those days, I feel like there was such a deep sense of trust and surrendering to the creation process, to letting kind of ideas come to me and to letting the dishes kind of speak for themselves and allowing them to be the center of creation, you know? Let's say if I had to shoot a crepe recipe, I would first plate the crepes on plates that inspired me, and then I put them on a backdrop and I just grabbed items that just fit in the scene, and somehow it just worked. And also I wanted to share a little anecdote. When it came time for me to edit these thousands of images, after I filtered them down to a couple of hundreds, I had this process of every single morning at around 7 a.m. I would get my coffee, put on my big noise canceling headphones. I was still in my bathrobe at this point, sit in front of my computer and just go through editing all of these photos while listening to inspirational music. It was honestly so special, and I'm so grateful for that experience and to be able to work on a project that I felt so connected emotionally, spiritually too, and just feeling like in flow. It was, yeah, quite special. As I'm telling you this, I don't want you to think that this whole process was completely struggle-free. It was not. While bringing this manuscript to life was very profound and sacred and special, there were many days where I felt deeply overwhelmed, and especially, you know, like I was talking to you about the days where I would shoot 4 recipes in a day, and then at the end of the day, I look at my kitchen. My kitchen is a mess, you know, like there were plates everywhere. It is just like a tornado went through. It was overwhelming on those days. And also sometimes when I knew I had specific days that I had to shoot multiple photos, and then one day I didn't shoot as much as I wanted to, and then the next day I would wake up with a sense of stress, you know, how can I get this done? But whenever I kind of allowed myself to just surrender to the process, things always kind of found a way to go back into place, and I was able to submit my manuscript successfully along with the photos May 2022, last year. So it's already been a year. When I submitted this manuscript, I had some time to kind of reflect back on the experience, and I realized that the reason why I felt so connected to my work, to my images, to this project is that I felt like I had a purpose, a very specific thing that I was trying to do: bring these recipes into the world, bring these images into the world, and convey certain emotions and feelings and bring back memories from the past. So I think that really made this project quite special. But you knew there was a but coming, because this video is about creative ruts and struggling to find inspiration again. Once this project was done, I felt drained. It was very difficult, and it still remains to this day, and it's been a year that has gone by, right? Difficult for me to create in the same capacity that I used to before this cookbook and during the creation of this cookbook. How this kind of creative rut came about is that initially I just didn't know what to create. I was quite uninspired. I didn't know what to shoot, what recipes I wanted to bring into this world, how to style images. It felt very weird. Like I felt kind of disconnected from food and photography. And yeah, just like cooking in general too. Like one of the things that I remember, especially from the early days, is that I don't know how to create my own recipes. I would spend a lot more time on other people's blogs, looking at their recipes and kind of recreating those instead of leaning more on my own creations. And then whenever I tried to pick up my camera just to create, without any specific purpose or end goal, it wasn't working. Like I remember a day very clearly. This was this year, actually, earlier in the year, where I had I forget what I was shooting. See, I don't even remember specifically what I was shooting, but I remember feeling so overwhelmed because it wasn't working, like I was trying the things that I usually go for, start with the camera on the tripod, shoot the scene, then take the camera in your hand and then go around and capture the scene. And I did that and I just couldn't get the shot. And I remember thinking, like, maybe this is it. Like, maybe I can't do this anymore. Like, maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe I've lost it. Like, it's quite weird, right? Like when these type of moments happen. And I'm sharing this because I feel it's important for me to be transparent, and because it's very easy, I think, to look at people online and see what they're creating, see their stories, see their projects that they're working on, and think, well, they've got it all figured out. All their days are rosy and all their days are very fulfilling creatively. And honestly, that's not the case. And it wasn't the case for me for a while. And even to this day, I feel like things have not fully gone back to the place that they used to be a few years ago. I think that one other thing that contributed to this creative rut was that every time I would open up social media, I just felt triggered. It felt very overwhelming. The space felt loud, like everyone was trying to kind of say something important or spread a message. I'm saying this like I was part of that. Like I've been posting, in the past years too, and I've been contributing to that noise in a sense. But yeah, like social media became difficult for me to navigate. And I felt like, these algorithms, they're created to make you want to stay on there, right? And to capture people's attention. And in order to do that, you need to be creating quite regularly in order to keep that attention on your account, on your reels, on your videos. And like, I wasn't in a space where I could do that. I couldn't create 3 reels a week or even 3 recipes a week or sometimes even 1 recipe a week. I didn't feel that inspiration. And then I started looking down on myself thinking, well, maybe there's something wrong, Why isn't that like so many people are able to do that, but you're not able to kind of pull yourself up and, create, push it out of you. Yeah, so it was quite difficult. And on top of that difficulty to create, I just felt like I didn't know kind of how to share my vision, like how to have my own voice. What should I be saying? What should I be shooting? It was super weird. It's been a very confusing time. And hopefully this video kind of makes sense. Honestly, I feel like I'm saying a lot of things. Hopefully it speaks to you. And if it does, please let me know in the comments. But anyways, I think now it's time to share what I did in order to help with these feelings of discomfort. And for me, one of the big things that has helped a lot is just taking a step back, allowing time for myself to recharge my batteries, reconnect inward, reconnect with me, with Muriel, with my voice, trying to find it again in a way that wasn't too pushy, giving myself some grace and, focusing on other things while the creativity cup gets filled back up and I feel excited to create again. I didn't touch my work camera much for personal projects. I just kind of put it to the side and instead try to regain my creativity and make my creativity flow through other avenues. And those avenues honestly have been wonderful. This summer, I took up jewelry making. So this has been my new little passion. I've been making necklaces and earrings, and I'm really enjoying the process. It's something completely different, but it's been a lot of fun to enter this new world and be a newbie at jewelry making. I've also been dancing a lot. I've been doing these dance workouts on YouTube. I can link some down below in the description. I've always been passionate of dancing. The dancing has been a great way for me through the years to just help emotions kind of flow through me and put it out into the world in a way that is very creative, liberating, and just fun. I love dancing. That's been a big source of joy for me over the past year. I've also allowed myself to be more inspired by nature, spend more time outside among trees, in parks, in forests, and just witnessing the beauty that is there and noticing the ever-changing nature of nature, seeing how the flowers change through seasons and how the colors are starting to change this time of the year especially. It's been quite nice and very healing for me. I also started writing more poetry. This is something I didn't really do in the past. I used to write poetry more in high school, but then at the beginning of this year, sometime around springtime, I just kind of had an urge to write poetry, and it's been really, really nice. I've been enjoying it a lot. It's a great way for me to kind of put my thoughts that I have in my head onto paper and in a more maybe curated way. So that's been a lot of fun. And last but not least, I have been planning my wedding. So by the time you see this video, Sam and I will be on our honeymoon. We tied the knot on September 30th. It was a very small, very intimate wedding. And after 11 years of dating, we're finally a married couple. And it brings me a lot of joy that we get to enter this new chapter of our lives together. But yeah, this summer has been very focused on planning this wedding. There have been a lot of creative projects that were connected to this big day. I designed a bunch of posters. I had to edit a bunch of images, like images of Sam and I, obviously not really food. I also had to kind of imagine the tablescapes and the decor, and that's been really nice and kind of similar to what I do in food styling in a way. It's taken a lot of time and energy, way more than I thought, but it was very special to do that and to also have the capacity, to spend more time planning this big day because I had more of a slow summer. So I was able to focus my time and energy and attention on September 30th. Although exploring these new creative avenues brought me a lot of joy and excitement and peace, there were still many, many days where I felt kind of lost still when it came to my work, my future as a creator, as a food photographer, as a recipe developer, all these things that I mentioned in the intro of this video. But yeah, I had many moments of doubt and fear and worry. What I came to realize is that creativity is not always a non-demand thing. It's not like a tap, right, that you can just turn on and then creativity just flows through you. There are periods of life where that is true. Like, for example, when I was working on my cookbook, it felt very natural and organic and effortless in a way. But now I found myself, and I'm still finding myself in a period where it's no longer the case. And I had to find peace in that, and realizing that the act of creating in and of itself is something that's very sacred. And for me, I know I want to continue creating, but in a way that is much more conscious, present, connected, intentional, and try to allow myself a lot more grace when there are periods where I'm not creating in the same capacity, or not as much, or maybe not in the way that I kind of envisioned for myself. And in order to do that, for me, I found that spending time just noticing what is around me, noticing the magic, noticing the beauty, noticing how special and sacred life is, has been a great way to find a desire to create again, find a desire to capture this magic and bring it into the world and share it with other people. So that brings us to the question, so what's next? What's my plan for the next couple of months? Honestly, for the time being, aka for the next couple of weeks, my big plan is going to just soak up all the magic that this honeymoon is going to be. Sam and I are going to be in Curacao, spending some time together. It's going to be a great time for me to just decompress, disconnect, recharge my batteries after a very busy summer that was filled with lots of wedding planning. And then when I come back, my plan is to continue seeking inspiration everywhere around me, continue noticing the beauty in nature, because for me it's a great source of inspiration. I think nature is a great teacher, and I want to kind of bring it a little bit more into my work as a food photographer and recipe developer, and slowly but surely start dipping my toes back into food creation. Sam and I had this talk a few weeks back, and he said, it's important to step away from something when you feel a resistance that is difficult to overcome, but you cannot stay away, because that's how you dim your light. Sometimes resistance is also meant to be overcome, slowly, gently, one creation at a time. So my plan for when I come back is doing just that, walking shakily, slowly, one step at a time, into this discomfort that was created around creation, around food and photography. Well, that's it for today's video. I know it is quite different from any video I've created in the past, really, but I felt it was very important for me to come on here and be transparent and honest and share a little bit more about what I've been going through behind the scenes. And I felt like writing all of this into a caption or a newsletter or even a blog post just wouldn't have the effect that I would hope this video would have. So I hope this video does end up inspiring you in some way or another. Maybe it will inspire you to start creating in new ways, or maybe it'll inspire you to just slow down a little bit, or give yourself some grace for not always be a creation machine. Or maybe it'll just be the little push you need to start creating again and grabbing your camera and capturing beautiful photos, video, or whatever it is that you actually do, because I know some people who watch this YouTube channel are not all food photographers. And once again, I just want to say how grateful I am for this community on here. All of your support through these YouTube videos, Instagram comments, likes, subscribing to my newsletter, reading my blog, trying my recipes. It really, really means a lot. And your support is one of the main reasons why I come back on here and I push myself outside of the discomfort that I have around creation, because I know it can help others create as well, inspiring them to do something that they love. And ultimately, I think creating is something that is very special and unique and sacred, and something that we should really celebrate and encourage and cherish. And really, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching and for making it to the end. I wish you a beautiful rest of your day.
I can't wait to see you today.